Here are 12 things I wish I knew before traveling to Egypt. Number 1 is the main airport in Cairo. This airport is unlike any other airport I've been to. It's extremely busy when you land. You're probably going to need closer to 2 to 3 hours rather than 1 to 2 hours when checking in, and certainly allow for that time when you land and come out of the airport. It is a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. It is very different to Western airports, so please be patient and you will get through. Number 2 follows on from number 1, and that is that while Egypt does have Uber and it works very well, it doesn't work at the airport. You're going to need some local currency or some American dollars to pay for a taxi. There's plenty of them at the airport and they're pretty reasonably priced too. Number 3 is visa fees. For me, I'm Australian, so when I go to Egypt, I can get a visa on arrival, but there are some visa fees, and it really helps to make sure that you have some local currency before you land at the airport, because they will take cash at the airport and the lines are long. It is much easier to have the cash ready in the local currency before you land in Egypt. Speaking of American dollars, point number 4, American cash is actually widely used in Egypt. It's totally acceptable. It's still good to have a mix of local currency and US dollars, but they're both going to be fine for paying for things, particularly for tipping as well. And the Egyptian currency is not as stable as the American currency. It can fluctuate quite a lot. So having some American dollars is a really great way to keep you safe if something crazy happens while you're over there. Point number 5 is that tipping is actually a thing in Egypt. I thought that it was just a thing that you see in YouTube videos or videos, shot in the United States, but turns out it's a thing in Egypt as well. So it's good to have some cash to be able to tip people, at the hotel, your taxi drivers when you're eating out, your guides. And it actually really means a lot to them as well, particularly as Westerners coming from places like the United States, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. Our currency is a lot stronger than Egypt by a fair bit as well. So even just a little bit can go a long way for the locals there. Point number 6, if you're anything like me, one of your favorite parts about traveling is being able to experience the food of different cultures, and Egypt has some incredible food. But unfortunately, over in Egypt with my wife, I got really bad food poisoning. My wife was very careful with what she ate. She ate only freshly cooked meat and meals, whereas I was just going straight into the buffet meals, and that was my mistake. I got the worst food poisoning of my life. I was out for about 5 days. It was horrible. So be careful when you're in Egypt, or any other country for that matter, particularly if you're a Western like me and have a Western stomach. Be careful with what you eat. Number 7, the roads. They're pretty chaotic. The drivers, they know what they're doing. The locals are used to it. So when you get into the back of a taxi, don't freak out too much. But the traffic is wild and nuts, and road rules are kind of more of a suggestion. The police really aren't pulling anyone over for doing anything too dangerous. You can see a mix of old cars and new cars, all beaten up and scratched and dented. People are going to push their way in. I would heavily recommend sticking to Uber or to taxis. Not a country that I'd recommend renting a car in, because you're probably going to get hit by someone. Just be aware of that. Number 8, and this is really cool. Cairo, the capital of Egypt, at least it is for the time being, does not sleep. We arrived in Egypt well past midnight, caught a taxi to our hotel on Zamalek Island in the Nile, and it was as if it was the middle of the day. People were working, people were shopping, everything seemed to be open. Part of that may be to do that with the heat of Egypt. It can be incredibly hot during the daytime, and it can be more quiet in those hotter months. But as soon as that sun goes down, the city just lights up and people are awake and busy and eating. And that was something that as a Westerner I was pretty shocked by, but it was really, really cool. Cairo really doesn't sleep. There are things to do 24 hours around the clock. Number 9, and this point is pretty important, particularly if you are a Western like me. Egypt is unfortunately a little bit of a tourist trap. I would recommend going with a guide, and again, you need to be very careful with the type of guide that you pick. We picked probably the most amazing guide after doing a lot of research online, and he made our trip 1,000 times better. His name was Gad. I'm going to leave his contact details in the description. Do not go to Cairo do not go to Egypt without a guide, particularly Cairo, particularly Giza, because you're just not going to be able to move. There's going to be so many people trying to sell you things, trying to, be a guide for you, try and tell you that you need to pay to go see this attraction or that attraction. If you're going to go to Egypt, and it is an amazing country, go with a guide. I promise you, you'll thank me later. Point number 10, and this is a pretty important one that we didn't really learn until we actually got to Egypt. Egypt is a big country, and it's so much more than just Cairo and Giza. If you're going to go to Egypt, make sure you make time to go down to Luxor in the middle of the country and up north to Alexandria as well. There is so much history and well-preserved history in this country. I don't know if spending, a couple of months or a whole year there would even be enough to see everything that this country has to offer. It's just jam-packed full of history. So for all of you history lovers, I would recommend staying for as long as you can, while also trying to, stay as comfortable as possible, because there is just so much to do. Number 11, unless you are down somewhere on the east coast of Egypt, this country is definitely more of a destination for the adventure-seeking traveler rather than an individual or a couple or a family looking for something relaxing. This is a very loud, very active country. There's activity all the time. There's lots of noise. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. It's an amazing place to go, but it is for, adventure and for sightseeing and for just getting out and seeing as much as you can in the time that you've got. It is not really the place for relaxation. The hotels are, not up to Western standards, let's say. And there's not really any kind of resorts, particularly near Cairo or anything like that. There are some on the East Coast, which are actually, they're tricky to get to as a tourist, but they are really good value for money if you're interested in something like that. But otherwise, if you're there to go see Cairo, Giza, Luxor, Alexandria, this is a place where it's just amazing for travelers looking for an adventure. You're going to have one heck of an adventure. My 12th and final point is that Egypt is a country that really feels like a destination that you go to once and never really return to. It's certainly a bucket list destination. I mean, the pyramids, come on, one of the 7 wonders of the world, really exceeded my expectations, and I'm so glad that I went. But it was just not really very relaxing. There was a lot of preparation that had to go into the holiday. It is very expensive to fly to, particularly from Australia. It's not the easiest country to get to. The hotel was, not up to Western standards. The airport was an absolute nightmare. The traffic and getting around through all that was not particularly relaxing. But I absolutely loved seeing the pyramids, learning about the history, and we had an amazing guide. All in all, the people can be pretty friendly, particularly the younger generation are just some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. If you get the right guide, your trip is going to be made 1,000 times easier and better. So I'd recommend definitely getting a guide. But would I go back? Probably not. Would I live there? Probably not, although the cost of living is amazing. It is very, very cheap. But it is a country that I won't be returning to. Hi guys, my name is Jared Graham. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you learnt something, consider giving this video a like so that other people can find it too. And if you enjoy all things travel and geography and just learning about different cultures, consider subscribing. We do videos like this all the time. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. There goes a sight from my soul.